Hi everyone, Karen Hightower here. I'm glad you've joined me. I hope you'll pull up a chair and get comfortable. We're going to do a little watercoloring today. I'll be using the Flowers for You stamp set from Gina K Designs. It's a really big, beautiful image that we'll be watercoloring today. I have already stamped it on a piece of Arches cold press watercolor paper, and it's the green one there. And I have stamped it with the Distress Ink Antique Linen. So we will grab a couple brushes. I have the Daniel Smith watercolor. This is like a sample, and you can paint a lot with that sample. It's not very expensive. I bought that one on Amazon, and you can find it at different craft stores too, I believe. Art stores. And so I have some brushes and some water, and we're going to start with a few of the leaves. I'm not going to show you how to paint every leaf, but we'll start with a couple of them. So this one I'm adding just water to first because there's so many ways you can watercolor. I'll show you. This one I added the water, and I touched the pigment or the watercolor to that, and you can see how that color just spreads, which it is really fun to watch it do that. But anyway, so you blend it out, and then the little bent over part, I water down my color a lot, so it's real light. So that way it looks bent over. It looks like the backside of a leaf. But here I'm just adding more color and blending it out. And I'll add some darker color because where it's bent over, there's going to be a shadow. So I'm going to add the darker green there, and we'll blend that out as well. And the more wet your image is, the more that color will bleed out. So a lot of times I just will color the back of the image, and then I pull it out with just a brush with water on it instead of extra pigment. You'll see in a minute I will keep two brushes in my hand, and that's why usually I keep one with just water and the other one actually has the color on it. Here I'm adding more darker color underneath where that leaf is laying on top of the other one. It kind of gives you a shadow. And then we'll do a flower. See here I didn't add water to the petal first. I'm going around with the full color there, and then I will blend it out with the brush that just has water on it. It's kind of like using Zig Clean color markers where you put it down and you use a wet brush to pull the color. Or even if you're doing pencils and you're doing a Gamsaw technique where you put the color down and you take the blending stump and you pull the color out with the Gamsaw. It's kind of the same thing, a little different, but you're pulling the color up and out so it's not all concentrated at the base of the petal. There's so many different ways and techniques to watercoloring. I am not a professional. I just do this because I love to do it. And I'm a visual learner, so I watch different people, and that's how I've learned. And so I hope somebody can learn a little tip or a little trick from watching my videos. So here I've added more color, and I'm using that wet brush to blend it out. Now, if you're blending and there's a lot of color on your brush, but you need it to be real light, just tap your brush off on your paper towel, and then you can go back to pulling color, or if there's a whole lot, you may want to rinse your brush and tap it on the paper towel and then blend some more. It takes a little practice to get how much water you want in your brush and all that, but every time you do it, you get better. And so I would say just practice, practice, practice. And as you can see, we're just blending the color, pulling it out. And I am doing the petal right next to the one I did. And I usually will go skip the one next to it because anywhere that is wet and you put down color, it will usually pull to or go to the wet spot. So usually I skip around, but that one I didn't, but it was close enough that I thought it would be okay, and it worked out. So we're just going to keep adding color and blending. We'll add some color to them nooks and crannies and get them filled in. And my brush, you can tell it's not really super wet, the one I'm using now, because if it was, I'd have a big puddle mess, and I'm always wiping it on my paper towel. I'll go up under that folded petal to get a darker area. And then we'll just keep painting these petals. Now I have sped up this video in parts in certain areas because I am a very slow painter. It took me a very long time and several days to record this. At the end, you know, I'll have on nail polish. But I just have to watercolor when I get a chance, and sometimes it's over a 2 or 3 day period, which is fine. So we're adding a little darker color up around the edge and giving it the illusion of folds and creases and stuff. Like this one, I'm going to darken up that little crease in that petal, and that way it gives it some definition that there is a little crease there or a fold. And after you color your image, then you'll want to go back and add details. I could fiddle with details for hours on a painting because you always see something that you want to add a little more color to, or a shadow or whatever. So I'm coloring the orange one below and just spreading the color around, moving it out, adding a little dark shadow underneath the petals. I'm going to grab this color here. It's kind of an orangey brown. And I'm going to add some water, and then I have another color layer to add to give me some more depth. Then I took and mixed a orange with a pink just to give me another color, of course, to do some detailing on the pink flowers. I also like to add yellow on top of my green leaves and stuff. You can tell they have a little yellow tint to them. It really brightens them up. You can also do blue mixed with some green to give you some really pretty tones in your leaves. So I'm just going around adding a little dark areas to these flower petals. And then I will also take and color the center of my flowers a yellow. But you know, you have to do all these details, and I think that's where I get kind of lost in my paintings. It's because I could spend a lot of time doing details. But we're just going to blend out some color until you're happy with it. And if you're painting something and you think, oh my goodness, this is just terrible or whatever, walk away. Go have lunch. Go smoke a cigarette if you smoke. Go get a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever, and just walk away for a little bit. Come back to it, and you'll be amazed that you might actually like it then. And then you can work on it if you need to add or change things. So I've added yellow, and then I'm taking a black gel pen and putting the dots in for the stamens that are around these flowers. And then let me tell you what I did. I wanted the throat of the flower to be darker, and that part that I'm coloring darker now, I wanted that to be yellow. So I kind of did it backwards, which I guess is fine, but that's not what I wanted. So after I colored it all black, I do take a paper towel and I lift that ink. So if you're in the middle of doing that and you think, oh, that ain't right, just take a paper towel. See how it come off? And some of it comes off easier than others. but it lifted it enough. So I went back and added some more yellow, which is what I wanted, and then I left the throat darker. And I added a little bit of red or orange to the dark color for the throat of the flower. Then I took a real pretty light blue and I colored in all around the flowers and in the background. And then I took my finish card and I did some splattering. So I took my blue, you can see it here, and I grabbed some color, put it on my palette, which I had already added some water there, and I just tapped the brush all around. And then I grabbed some green, you can see me grabbing the green there, and I did the same thing. But then I decided I didn't want splatters all over my flowers, a whole bunch, so I just used my hand as a shield. And then I grabbed my white gouache and I added a lot of water and did the same thing. And again, I use my hand as a shield to block the flower because I don't mind a little splatter on my flowers, but I didn't want them totally coated, which is easy to do when you're splattering. As you can see, it's all over my hands. Even the hand that I'm not using as a shield. And after it was all dried, I cut it in half so I can make 2 cards. And I'm going to use the piece on the right. I took my Misty and put in a piece of Gina K Designs white layering weight cardstock, and I stamped the image in obsidian amalgam ink. And then I will take and use my little Stampin' Bug tool and apply a little bit of pressure, and I get a nice image. And then I'm going to take it out and I'm going to lay this on top here and line it up, and then I'm going to use my purple tape to tape it down, and then we're going to die cut it. I used the Masters Layout 2. I used the little stitched die on this, and I also used the larger one to cut out a piece of black onyx cardstock to go behind it when I was done. So you can see I'm lining it up here, and then I will run that through the die cutting machine. Then I'm going to use the Gina K Designs adhesive dot runner to attach that to the black layer that I cut out, and I'm using the Connect glue to now adhere the watercolor on top of the black and white image. It's kind of like doing a spotlight technique, but this is just half of the card. So then I grabbed the leftover black onyx and I cut me a real thin strip, and then I'll run a bead of Connect glue down the edge where that lays over on top of the black and white image. Then I'll attach this thin strip of black cardstock. Then I'll finish out this card by attaching the greeting at the bottom, which is from A Little Love stencil bundle. I added some black bling from my stash and Gina K Designs Angel Aura rhinestones. I hope you picked up some tips along the way, and if you will, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any videos. Thank you so much for coming along on today's journey, and you can find me on Instagram under Karen Hightower and over on Facebook under Gina K Designs Friends Group. Thank you again, and I hope you have a wonderful day.